Good morning and welcome to Mortgage Rates Today, October 19th, 2022. And the mortgage rate today, 7.15%. But we have a special guest. We're going to put that rate to the test with Darin Triolo, one of my friends. Would love to see where we're going shopping today. Where are we going, Darin?
Bill, we are heading out to East County, San Diego. It is actually an area east of El Cajon called Dehesa, and I've got a great property with a lot of land. I can't wait to share it with you.
All right, let's get going. Let's get this show started. So, Darin, how do you like that fancy music we have for the show?
It's awesome.
Do you like that? It kind of gets you going. It gets really fun. Anyways, let's talk about really fun stuff. The mortgage rates, 7.15%. We have been pretty steady over this 7% level. And it's just a matter of not knowing where inflation is. Inflation. That's a big key. We don't know if we're going into a recession or if we're really strong economically. There's competing thoughts on that. But I personally think we're in a recession. I think that we're going to see more pullback. I do believe that we're going to start seeing individuals stop buying as much. It'll be interesting to see how this Christmas season comes into play and if there's less shopping this year. And if there is, then of course that's going to impact the inflation in a good way, because it'll be less costly to get a goods and service. The retailers may have to reduce their prices to get some more sales. So we'll see where that goes. But 7.15, not a very good rate, but we're going to put that rate to the test. And we are also going to show how a home buyer can actually get a lower payment in today's markets. We'll talk about that as well. But first of all, what I'd like to do is talk about this. You work with so many sellers. You're one of the best agents in San Diego, and you're with them all the time. I want to understand from a home buyer's perspective, what is the seller's mindset right now about paying closing costs? Are they willing to play the game right now?
Yeah, and Bill, you're touching on probably one of the biggest challenges for sellers in today's market, because they've been spoiled, right? We've been in a bull market for the last 10 years. Sellers are pretty much naming their price, especially within the last year. 8 short months ago, everyone was paying over list. Sellers were getting appraisal contingencies removed, no credits, no repairs, no nothing. And here we are just a short while later where the market is actually flipped the other way. I mean, we still have very low inventory, right? But we have high mortgage rates and the demand has really dropped. You're spot on with, the lack of demand is really driving things. So I think the hardest part for sellers right now is shifting in the psychology from 8 months ago. And so we're spending a lot of time on the front end, letting them know, look, that was then, this is now. If you want to sell your home, you're going to need to start thinking about creative ways to incentivize the buyer. And that might look like paying for closing costs, buying down the rate. Some of the creative loan products that you guys are offering that we're, really recommending to our sellers to help the buyer out and help them choose their home over another one.
Yeah, it's an interesting market right now where a normal market is having about 6 to 7 months of months supply of inventory. And a buyer's market is when there's 7 months plus, if you will.
Yep.
But we're still under 6 months, which you would think would be a seller's market. But because of the interest rates, it's really changed things.
It really has. I mean, we're at about 2.5 to 3 months of inventory in the county, and which is
low.
It's low, but it's up from 2 weeks of inventory that we had in February. So even though it's higher, it's still relatively low. But you're absolutely right. The increase in rates has really tempered and tamped down the demand, and so the market's really got a lot more negotiating power for buyers right now.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, a seller wants to sell and a buyer wants to buy. And if you can get those two meetings of the mind together and compromise, and I think what we're seeing is a little bit more compromise, certainly than we did 6 months ago, where there was no compromise on the seller's side. The seller's having to play the game. So anyways, what I'd love to do is actually go shopping and find out a little bit more about the house you have for us today. You ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. All right, Darin, let's see what you have today.
Yeah, so this is 6080 Dehesa Road. Again, it's out in El Cajon in an area called Dehesa. It's beautiful, 5 acres, super private. You've got a private road that takes you up off the main road up to the 5-acre parcel. My client bought the home as a short sale. Believe it or not, there was a short sale about 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Gutted the place. And when I say gutted, I mean ripped out everything. New flooring, drywall, kitchen, bathrooms, reconfigured the floor plan a little bit, just made it all nice and modern. You know, all the modern amenities that people are looking for. It has at least solar system as well. So you're somewhat off the grid. It's got a septic tank and also a private well. So you don't have to deal with water bills from the city, which, as we all know, aren't getting any cheaper. But it's 3 beds, 3 baths, really cool 2nd-story master suite, beautiful bathroom, tons of views. I mean, you've got views that go probably 270 degrees around this property. Yeah, it's awesome. Bunch of decks on the property. It's equestrian zone. So if you've got some horses or cows or chickens or goats or whatever you want, you've got plenty of space for it. There's even a leveled out pad that you could put a horse arena, put some stables in there. But a really, really cool property. I think for a buyer that is looking to kind of get out of the city, it's only 45 minutes from the beach. So you're kind of far enough inland, but close enough to the beach. And really, really cool property for people that might want to do some homesteading, you know, grow their own fruits and veggies and hunker down for a while. We're definitely.
Does it have internet access? Does it have good internet access if you wanted to work remote?
You might have to get that satellite internet. We'll see.
Yeah. So, well, it looks like an absolute beautiful property out in the middle of nowhere. And like you said, if you want that seclusion, what a great property. Should we put the rate to the test on this home?
Let's see.
All right, let's do this. So if this property were to sell at the list price of $999,000 with 20% down payment, $199,800, at the loan amount would be $799,200. At the mortgage rate today, 7.15%. That's a rate, Darin, that's based off of Mortgage News Daily. It's a compilation of rates throughout the country. Great resource for consumers to go to. You can Google it, and we look at it all the time. So if you want to read all about mortgage news, go here. We look at it all the time. So 7.15 is the mortgage rate today. Principal and interest on this would be $5,398. Estimated real estate taxes, $749. And then the hazard insurance, we've estimated at about $183. There's no mortgage insurance required because it's less than no mortgage insurance because it's a 20% down payment scenario that we have here. The HOA fee, we do not show an HOA fee on this. So the estimated mortgage payment would be $6,330. And Darin, as we were talking about some of the things that are the creative things that sellers are potentially doing. And one of the big programs that people are doing a lot now is a 2-1 buy down. And essentially what it does is it buys the interest rate down in the first year 2%. So instead of 7.15%, the first year interest rate would go down to 5.15%. The second year, it would go to 6.15%. The third year, back up to 7.15%. The strategy here, Darin, as you know, as you've seen it, is to refinance in that first 3 years, anticipating interest rates going down. And there's certainly a lot of talk of that. You have to make that decision for yourself. But in this particular scenario, if they did a 2-1 buy down, the payment would be reduced by over $1,000 a month in the first year. So that would bring the first year down from $6,330 if it was 7.15 all the way down to $5,296 in that first year. So it's a very good program to consider. And a lot of times the sellers are paying for that. In fact, we would highly recommend that the buyer go in and try and negotiate where the seller would pay for this. And that may be an option for them to actually purchase the home. So a lot of things that we're seeing out there. And then of course we have what's called our 90-day game plan, where it can be 90 days, it could be 11 days, it could be 45, I mean, you name it. It could be that, but we call it the 90-day game plan. Great resource. Get your game plan together to purchase a home, and we'll put that in the comments as well. So, Darin, last words. Somebody in this market, being a home buyer, what would you recommend they do when they go to shop for a home?
Well, first they have to get qualified with a great lender like you guys, and make sure that they understand what their options are for buying down the rate temporarily, like we discussed. But the bottom line that I always share with my clients is, look, we get this question through my entire 19-year career is that, Darin, am I buying at the worst time, at the best time? Am I selling at the worst time? And what I tell all my clients who are buying is, look, if you can afford the monthly payment, you find a home that you're going to love, and you stay in that home for 7 to 10 years or longer, you buy the home, and then you forget what else is going on in the market until Bill gives you a call and tells you you have to refinance to save more money. But that's really true. And that stands true even through the worst recession of our life. The people that held on 7 to 10 years, they made money. And so, especially in Southern California, we've got a unique market here.
Yeah, it's incredible advice, Darin. I know real estate is long-term. If you're looking to buy it for a year, I wouldn't buy. But if you're looking for this as a long-term home, absolutely great advice. Darin, thanks so much. Can't wait to see you the next time on Mortgage Rates Today, and we'll see you all soon. See you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Bill.